If you feel like you're chasing clients, you've already lost the sale. I'm trying to remember what selling was like when I was in corporate. There were a lot of decks, a lot of building decks, and a lot of very nice emails telling people that I'd like to follow up and I'd like to circle back and I'd really love to work with them. So then I became a business owner, and there were all these sales trainings. Andy Elliott, Jeremy Miner, they were teaching you what to say, how to handle objections. But there's one part of sales that nobody has talked about so far. This book, The Frame, is the missing link when it comes to sales training. So what I wanted to do is go through it a little bit and explain why this is like 95% of what works in closing clients. I mean, it's worked for me and everyone that I've seen use it in my group. It absolutely works for them. So I want to just break it down a little bit and talk about all the lessons that this amazing book teaches. Okay, so what is frame? So frame isn't any kind of lines or any kind of scripts or any charm that you have or anything to do with anything you say. In the words of the authors, frame is actually the silent law that decides who leads and who follows. So there's a little thing in our brain called the amygdala. And the amygdala is really, really ancient. It was around before intellect and words were around and verbal communication was around. And it's what animals use to make decisions. So it's how the rabbit knows that the cheetah's coming, right? It's because the cheetah has a presence when it walks in. People have the same thing, right? And the amygdala is a thing in your brain that can sense that. When someone enters the room and they have a presence, you feel it. And your brain decides if that person is going to be a leader or they're going to be a follower. Now let's pretend that that person comes up to you 15 minutes later and starts talking to you about their coaching program. And you've already decided that they're a leader and they know what they're talking about without even knowing that you've decided. Do you think that you're more likely to listen? Probably. That's what frame allows you to do. So when this person comes and talks to you, you're already pre-sold and you don't even realize it. The thing is, the brain makes decisions from emotions and justifies with logic. Emotions are much older than logic, and we don't even know that we decide things until we start trying to justify them. So let's go over a few chapters in the book. So chapter 1, signal over struggle. If I could summarize this chapter in one word, it would be detachment. So if you've learned anything about manifestation, you know that a key important, super important part of it is to be absolutely detached. If you're attached to what you manifest, it's never going to happen because attachment signals lack. So what the authors say here is that you give off a signal when you really, really need something. And when someone feels that signal of you really, really needing something, they step back. It's like the universal signal of get away from me, right? So I'm just going to read a little bit from this. We were taught to hustle, to prove, and to persuade. Frame does not chase. It filters. It does not send the third follow-up. It says, if you're in, you'll move. If you're not, you were never in my orbit. It does not stack proof of value. It asks, what happens if you don't? It does not qualify itself. It qualifies the other side. Okay. So there's a really important mindset behind this. You don't need anything. Why don't you need anything? Because you have yourself. You are the absolute source of everything that happens in your life. The people and the things that come in and out of your life, they're just a result of what you're broadcasting, the emotions that you're broadcasting. So, in terms of sales, all the clients that you're ever gonna need are already here. They're already in this world. All the money you're ever gonna need is already here. It's in this world. You just have to get to it. How do you get to it? You broadcast the signal in the form of emotions, and you take the actions that makes those things come to you. So you don't need anything. You don't need anyone. So the signal of detachment is absolutely real. You don't have to fake it. You don't need the deal. You don't need the client, because another one that's better suited for you will always come. And if you're not getting a bunch of clients and a bunch of deals, you're the one that you have to work on and not the clients. So the signal that you always have to be giving off is, I don't give a, I don't need you. I'm okay without you. If there's alignment, we'll work together. But if there's no alignment, it's okay. I'm good. Okay, let's do chapter 5, which is probably my favorite chapter of the whole entire book. So chapter 5 is called The Silent Close. Chapter 5 is about silence. It's what your presence signals when you're not saying anything at all. If you think about the state of the world that we're in today, if you just take your phone, it's dinging all the time. Your computer's dinging all the time. There's so much noise, so much people trying to get in touch with you all the time. What happens when things go silent? You notice, and your amygdala starts to scan to see what's coming next. So, psychologists call this the Zeigarnik effect, the mind's compulsion to finish unfinished sequences. In frame, you weaponize that tension, leaving the other side carrying the weight of closure until they close it for you. So think about a sales call. I was definitely taught in corporate to keep explaining and explaining until the other person thinks it's so great that they want to buy. And sometimes it happens because they don't really care. They're in corporate too. But when you're selling B2C, the person needs to feel like you're leading. They're not going to feel like you're leading if you keep trying to explain and send decks and send more things. They're going to be thinking, what's wrong with this person? Why do they need to push so hard to persuade? Right? So, silence. When you're on a sales call, give a person time to process what you just said. Give them time to feel your presence and feel the fact that you're going to lead them to their best outcome. If you just keep talking and talking and talking and talking, they're like, your brain immediately goes like this. You have to give them space. You have to give the interaction space to actually do what it's supposed to do. Lead that person that you're trying to sell to their best outcome. Okay, chapter 7, the qualifier's edge. So the message of this chapter is that the person doing the selecting is the one that's in control. Most people on sales calls that are the seller are the ones that are trying to be selected. A really powerful salesperson does the selecting. Let's think about what we just talked about in the last chapter about how you don't need anything. You don't need this client. All the money and all the clients that you'll ever need are already here in this universe. You just have to attract them. You just have to get to them. So if this client is not the right client, it's completely okay. So you're actually doing the selecting, not them. You're the interviewer and they're the interviewee. Is this person good enough to be my client? So how do you do that? You ask questions just like you would if you were in a real interview. Are you ready for all the work that this program does? Is this something that you're going to be able to handle? Do you feel like you're at the level in your career where you're ready for coaching? Completely different than them asking you questions and interviewing you. Okay. So, little excerpt from the book. Miami, Brickell, 42nd floor, sunlight slicing through the glass like cross-examination. 6 vendors lined the hallway, each flanked by handlers and decks thick enough to stop a bullet. I walked in with one black folder. No slides, no opener, no pitch. Before I tell you anything, I said, why did you even take this meeting? The founder blinked and shifted in his chair. I was told you're different. I am, I said, but this isn't a pitch. It's a fit check. I need to know if we think alike. So, disqualify hard. You are the one that chooses. You don't need this. Ask all the questions to make sure that this client is a good fit for you. If they're not a good fit for you, it's their loss, not yours. So, send the signal that you don't take everyone. You don't just work with everyone. If you think about any big time famous celebrity trainer or celebrity coach, do they take everyone? No, you have to apply to work with them. So you are the selector, you are the interviewer, you are the chooser. You're the one who decides who you're going to work with, and people need to feel that. All right, let's do one more chapter. So the frame break. So you always have the option to hold the frame. Nobody can take it from you. Only you can give it away. So, a little excerpt from the book. The frame is never stolen, only surrendered. Power doesn't fade. It's handed away in weakness. Silence is not absence. It is pressure, condensed and invisible. The instant you stop chasing the room begins moving toward you. Detachment is the crown. When you remember who you are, the room remembers too. Control is not regained. It is revealed as something you never lost. The reset arrives not by rising, but by returning. Not by pushing, but by pausing. Not by needing, but by being. The throne was always yours. Okay, so it happens sometimes. You hold the frame, you don't need anything, and all of a sudden you talk too much or you over explain, or you get in a zone where the other person starts asking you questions and you're answering them, and now you're the interviewee. This is not what you want. This is not the time to clarify or argue or do objection handling or anything like that. This is the time for indifference. This is the time to kind of step back and just energetically or verbally say to the person, I trust what we talked about has landed. You'll let me know. If it's a fit, it's a fit. If not, all good either way. Okay, so this book is going to change your sales game. We studied it in a lot of detail in my group. We read it, we went through it, we studied every single chapter. We practiced sales calls using the concepts from the frame. We went really, really deep, and it absolutely changed the game for everyone in the group. Sales calls started closing. People closed deals faster than they ever have before. And with a lot less work, right? Because now you don't need funnels, you don't need the pitching, you don't need all these really detailed things. You just need presence. Everybody's looking for a leader. Everybody wants leadership. Everybody wants you to lead them to their best outcome. And they want to feel in their heart that you're going to be able to do that before you tell them about the details of your thing, right? So I suggest you grab the book, read it in a lot of detail, practice with it, embody it, really learn the concepts. This is the missing link for sales, and I think it's going to change your sales game forever.